So can we start?
Yes. Yay! Alright, so for those who don't know us, this is Tom Fisher. My name is Christiane Herb, please call me Candy. We're both based in Hong Kong. Tom teaches at Polytechnic University in Hong Kong, and I'm teaching at Shenzhen University across the border. So we're at this very interesting intersection between China and European culture.
We're teaching design.
Yes. I'm from architecture, Tom is from product design. We have collaborated in our teaching, and our presentation is essentially on a series of workshops and lectures that we've given in the past, what was it, 2 years maybe?
No, 9 months.
Huh? 9 months? Oh, only, okay, 9 months. It seems much longer.
Seems much more, yeah.
Yes.
Power of love.
Okay, so yeah, we're going to talk not just about our teaching, but our evolving thinking on how we're teaching. Yeah, so we will do this together, so we'll talk about slides.
There is no script in the way that we do this, because we're trying to give you a flavor of how we proceed in our teaching. We are standing in front of the class, having different opinions about different things and discussing them, sometimes sharing opinions, sometimes not. We also want to give you a flavor of not only how we talk to the students, but also how the students talk back at us. The workshops come out of a subject that is offered as a regular part of our master's program at the school that I'm teaching it. And before we go into the details of that, we want to frame the whole thing by showing you two musicians who talk about their tools, who talk about their instruments, because what we teach is about the use of tools in order to come up with something new. Just as a little remark, because Paul this morning has made a comment on the notion of innovation. When we talk about innovation, we mean novelty for oneself, a personal notion of, a constructivist notion of novelty. How do we get that? And to frame that, let's listen to 2 clips of musicians talking about their instruments.
Okay, well this is an emulator 2, and it's an instrument that we use a lot in the studio and live. It's very versatile and very easy to use. And a lot of people will understand what a sampling keyboard does, but for those of you who don't understand what it does, basically it's like a tape recorder, except it works digitally. So you can use any sound that you care to imagine, just the same as you would when you record something. And when we work in the studio, we record many different sounds, such as fire extinguishers and, you know, anything.
Even the human voice?
Human voice, anything that's in your imagination, you can produce on here.
So that's Alan Wilder from Depeche Mode, and the next person is Victor Wooten, bass player.
Creativity is valuable for creating your own voice, for one. And creativity and inspiration are very, very similar. Fine line that separates the definition of both in my mind. But a lot of people ask me where I get ideas from, and a lot of times I don't really have answers. But it comes with just having an open mind, and a lot of it, I think, also, this is a guess, comes from not being afraid to go there. Because I don't think I'm any more creative than anyone else, but I will go there to that point. I'll take those chances where others will play it safe. And I'm not the type to play it safe most of the time. Okay. Wow, man, how do you come up with that? It's creative. To me, that's just playing like a piano. I see piano players sit down at the piano and do that. If I heard someone play that on the piano, it may not sound that creative. But if I take that exact same thing and put it on a different instrument where you're not used to hearing that, then it sounds creative. Okay, so what I do a lot of the times to help give me inspiration or new ideas, creative ideas, is I will look at what other instruments will do. Okay, if I want to be a great bass player, which of course I do, I need to listen to bass players. Okay, if I want to be a great musician, I need to listen to all of music. If I want to transcend all of that, I need to even get experience, influence, and find creativity outside of music. Okay, so taking, we'll stick with music, taking piano techniques and just putting them on the guitar or on the bass. Well, I don't know how to do that. Okay, give your bass to a piano player and have them lay it in their lap and play it like a piano. Immediately they'll come out with music, and it's going to sound different than any guitar player or any bass player that you've ever heard. Then maybe you have a tape recorder and you learn what they did. All right, maybe you take a saxophone player and do the same thing. Have them hold the have them hold the bass, you know, with the headstock up by their mouth, and finger some of their saxophone patterns. Because think about this. Look at this. What is this? This is a saxophone player. If I take this and lay it on its side, what do we got? We got Stanley Jordan. Okay, now let's get outside of music. Okay, in martial arts, they have different types of strikes. Maybe it's a palm strike or something. You know, you may take that technique and apply it to the bass and see what it sounds like. Okay, you know a person who's a martial artist, or he plays golf or whatever. Give them your bass. What will they come out with? Okay, if I give my bass to a bass player, and this is no knock on any bass players because there are great ones out there, but I know 99%, I'm pretty much know what's going to come out. It's going to be thumbing, tapping, fingers, you know, or a combination of chords or whatever. If I give this to a golfer, I have no idea what's going to come out. That's where the sparks fly. That's where the creation really is. You take someone that's never seen the bass, they may turn it upside down and play the back of it. It may seem stupid at first, you know, but I'm sure so did Stanley Jordan. So did Bela Fleck when he said, I want to play jazz on the banjo. So did Future Man when he said, I want to play electronic drums on a guitar body. You know, so did Einstein, so did Tesla. You know, all these people were crazy. They said Monk was crazy until they realized how much of a genius he was. In my mind, everybody's a genius. It's just, are you going to go there to find it out? Are you going for it or not?
So these two clips, they paint a very interesting picture. The first person receives a tool that gives him total control, and he will probably find himself in a nightmarish situation where he doesn't know what to do with it because everything is possible. And in the second case, rather than receiving a tool, he's surrendering it to someone else and thereby gaining something. So for the students that come into our class, we believe that's a little bit counterintuitive, or at least counter to much of what they've heard before, because the commonsensical idea is that you receive a tool, you receive a method, and thereby you are empowered to achieve something creatively. And here the picture that we see is exactly the opposite. By having something not, you have a potential for creating something new. So the subject that this came out of is called Innovation Tools for Strategic Design. When we inherited this, we basically asked for complete freedom in rewriting the whole thing to our specification, our assessment criteria. Basically, we rewrote the whole thing from a more conventional look at tool-based innovation to what we think might be more interesting.
By thing, you mean a class, a course, a curriculum?
This is, in its initial instance, it was a 3-weekend course on a Master of Design part-time program. People who are in their late 20s who do this part-time coming from design practice. But we have taught it to people who are 18 years old, and we have taught it to people who are 70 years old in some other postgraduate cases. So a very large spectrum with the peak of the bell curve somewhere in the late 20s.